What's up, comic book fans? And welcome to Comics Icons. Now, JJ, what they call me. And today, we got more from DC's Absolute Universe. This time with Absolute Batman issue 2 of this 5-part opening series story arc. And if you guys missed the insane start to this new series that sees Batman born into a world of turmoil with none of the advantages that we're used to seeing him have, then I'll put up a link at the top of the screen. And I'll put a card at the end of the video as well. But when we left off with this issue, we saw how a young Bruce Wayne lost his father to an active shooter incident at the zoo on a school trip. But in addition to that, in current day, Gotham City has been ravaged by a new gang called the Party Animals that seem to take pleasure in sheer destruction. Plus, we met this universe's Alfred Pennyworth, who ended up getting his butt handed to him in his first face-to-face battle with the Bat. So if you guys are ready for the next chapter of this brutal new version of Batman, then you guys know what time it is. Let's get it. So when this issue kicks off, we go back to that fateful night right after Thomas Wayne lost his life protecting the kids after forcing them into the Bat House for safety. And his young Bruce is now trying to force the door open. It doesn't budge since his father's lifeless body lays blocking it. But Bruce is then distracted when he's approached by a bat screeching at him, followed by an entire swarm of bats that dogpile on him. Meanwhile, in present day, Alfred tells us that since the last issue, for the next 2 weeks, the Party Animals escalated their offensive against Gotham. But in return, Batman escalated his offensive against them. As Alfred notes that Batman isn't everywhere, but he seems to know exactly where the biggest attacks are going to be and meets them head on. Like tonight, for instance, as he meets them at the Gotham Aquarium. And Alfred even tried helping out by adding some surveillance protections. Because the more Batman disrupts things, the more Roman Sionis, the Party Animals leader, ups the ante. And we know Roman Sionis is Black Mask from the main DC universe. But the more data Alfred is able to collect, this gets him closer to getting the hell out of Gotham. Although right now, Roman sent in enough Party Animals to take on a small militia. But Batman plans for everything. And when it looks like they've got him dead to rights as they hold him up against the aquarium glass at gunpoint, Batman unleashes spikes from his suit that break the glass and flood the room. Batman uses everything in his environment to his advantage. But as the Party Animals clown Batman for doing nothing but getting him wet from the small flood while he hangs from the ceiling, he's playing for that too, as he pulls out a concentrated vinegar capsule that turns the salt water into acid that sends the Party Animals running into the arms of the police with their legs and feet all burnt up. While Batman, meanwhile, manages to flee the cops while Alfred acknowledges that Batman has stash houses all over the city. Not one, but many caves. And while Alfred hasn't been able to pinpoint more than a few of them, he was able to plot out a line on which the others might be located based on Batman's movements, which leaves Alfred flabbergasted when he notices that the plotted line forms the Batman symbol. But Alfred also notes that when Bruce isn't being the Bat, his routine is tight. He goes to work, then vanishes into the shadows. And there's a rumor that he meets with the Red Hood, which in this universe, instead of it being a gang that gave us the Joker's origin, here it's a suspected resistance group. So I'm sure we'll get a taste of them eventually. But one thing is for certain, and that's that Bruce is a man alone, and even steers clear of his mother these days. And in these weeks, he only breaks his routine one time, and that's to go to Blackgate Penitentiary to visit his father's killer, Joe Chill. And while Alfred has no audio on Bruce, he does have visuals, so he can only imagine what Bruce says to Joe Chill. And in fact, this kind of makes Alfred respect Bruce even more. And after another week passes, Alfred is told by his handlers to drop the protections from Batman since he's become too volatile a factor. And at first, Alfred considers pushing back on his handlers, stating that Batman has actually helped his mission, and his provocations have helped form a new theory on who Roman is and what he's a part of. But instead, Alfred acquiesces and removes the protections. And not long after he removes those protections, the Party Animals are able to find Batman's caves in those empty high-rises, just like Alfred did. But Batman is playing for that as well. And as the Party Animals converge on his hideout, we see Batman watching from the distance as an explosion goes off that also forms his face in the flames. That's kind of dope. But then we pick up with Jim Gordon in his hospital bed after he had gotten shot in that first issue. And on the TV is a news broadcast about the ongoing crime in Gotham and growing support for Batman, which spark up a conversation between Harvey Bullock and Jim's daughter, Barbara, about the subject. And Bullock isn't a fan, despite Batman saving all their lives at the town hall, and he blames the Bat for the party animals up in the ante. But the conversation gets interrupted when Martha Wayne pops in for a visit. Plus, Barbara and Bullock respond to a call about the party animals, so they gotta take off. But when they leave, Jim and Martha converse for a little bit. First about how crazy a world they've left for their kids, and then they reminisce about Thomas Wayne a bit and how much Martha really misses him. And she throws in that she thinks he'd have actually liked Batman, as she then pops open the hospital window and fires her up a square. But Gordon, meanwhile, admits that he still thinks about that day and how he found Bruce. When he opened up that door to the Bat exhibit, he didn't see Bruce at first and didn't even know he was in there until he heard him scream as Bruce's entire body was covered in bats. And then Gordon asks Martha how Bruce has been doing, but she honestly doesn't really know. Before that day at the zoo, he would tell her everything, every little detail of his day, but now she barely knows him at all. As we then look back to a time after Thomas's death, as Bruce started to become antisocial, as all his boys are outside trying to visit with him, but he insists that his mom send them away, and then throws his science medal right out of the window. Meanwhile, in present day, Bruce makes a surprise visit to poker night with the boys, Waylon, Harvey, Ozzy, and Eddie. Basically all Batman's main universe's rogues. We got Killer Croc, we got Two-Face, we got the Penguin, and we got the Riddler. But of course, they're obviously shocked to see him, and they give him a hard time about it. But once they get to playing cards, you almost kind of think, okay, Bruce is finally letting his hair down for a minute and kicking it with the boys and catching up. But some things just never change as Bruce flips things up by showing off a party animal skull mask that he quote-unquote found. But Enigma diagnoses that it's essentially a GPS network that can map out all of the party animal targets. But then all the guys all discuss the rumors that they've heard about the gang, and what Ozzy knows is that the word is the leader, Roman, kills everyone that meets with him trying to make a deal. And after hearing from Harvey, they deduce that this could be related to the mayor race, and money, of course. And the former Mayor Hill, who's running against Gordon, has been taking in a lot of extra capital. And Harvey even heard from someone who works in his office that says that Hill's been riding high on some new purse he calls his golden chest. So after Bruce takes the pot in poker, the Batman goes to search Hill's campaign office. And what Bruce finds is that the golden chest looks to be Arkham. But Batman's discovery is cut short when Sionis appears on the screen in front of Batman, and he offers him a deal, revealing that he's tipped off the police to Batman here. Plus, his party animals have surrounded the building, but if he survives, they need to be happy to have a conversation with him, just before the building is fired on by a rocket launcher. Sheesh. So Batman scales down an elevator shaft where he's met with Alfred, who's the last person Bruce wants to see right now. But he's here to tell Bruce that the party animals are more than what they seem, and that maybe they can help each other. So Bruce gives him 30 seconds to explain how he can help. But first, Alfred wants to get to his car that he has hidden if they can get to it before they start their talk. But Bruce has a plan for everything, I told you guys, as he doesn't need Alfred's ride, because when Alfred asks if Bruce has a ride out of here, he responds that you're standing in it, as Batman revs up the motor, and then we see a sick-ass giant bat dump truck that takes off and flips over squad cars in the process. That thing is sick. But then we go back to that night with Bruce as a kid after he had threw his science medal out of the window and sent his friends away. And as he sits sadly at his bed, Selina Kyle is at his window with his medal and tells him to get up and come with her. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the issue. So what did you guys think about the issue and this absolute Batman series so far? And we finally get to see a young Selina, and I can't wait for the current day reveal myself. But you guys know I want to hear all your thoughts and theories on what's being built here. And as always, if you guys enjoyed this video and this channel, and you'd like to support the channel, then you can do so by stopping by the Comics Icons store and picking up some Comics Icons merchandise, including the background music heard right here in this video, available for download. Or by joining the Iconic Fan Club channel membership, and there'll be a link in the description to join. But with your membership, you'll get loyalty badges, member shoutouts, and up to 20% off of Comics Icons merchandise from the Comics Icons store. And even a chance to pick a video of your own choosing for me to post. Plus, we've got tiers to the memberships as well, beginning at just 99 cents. Or you guys can donate to the channel with a super thanks. And if you're not able to do any of that, then you can still help out this channel's future tremendously by dropping a like, share, and subscribing to Comics Icons for more icons in the comic book world. But ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time. I'm out.